I think the hate surrounding Bayonetta is just too much. It's unpleasant, it's excessive, and it's not good for the Smash scene as a whole. I feel y'all really gotta chill with the Bayo hate. Now, this video is not one meant to defend Bayo's design as a character. I'm not here to tell you she's not OP or even not cheap, because she is. I'm here to say that even though that's true, the way many in the community react to her is neither valid nor useful, and it's reached a point where I feel it's important, at least important in the realm of Smash, to speak out about it. Hopefully some of you will see where I'm coming from. At this point in time, her perception by the community is abysmal. Go to any video of a recent tournament where she's won, and it has a significant amount of dislikes, sometimes even more than 50%. The comment section is all her being torn apart, and you'd find the same thing in Smash forums. You'll have people saying she's unfair, she's too OP, she's killing or killed the game, saying how boring it is to see her win over and over again, and how they don't even want to follow the scene anymore, and people asking for her ban. The negativity spawned by the mere mention of her name is unmatched compared to any character in Smash history. So the first thing I'm going to try and do is explain why that is unwarranted, why people shouldn't be that upset in the first place. Is she OP? Yes. Is she the best character in the game? That's unanimous at this point. Is she unbeatable? Not even close. One thing that people need to realize is that in top level play, Bayonetta is not some unstoppable force, as much as that might feel to be the case. Her first real major win was not much more than a year ago, and though she's definitely become more popular and prevalent now, it's not like she's suffocating the metagame. You always see at least 2 or 3 Bayos in top 8 these days, sometimes 4, and she's packed on more wins now. Salem got a few more after Evo, and 2018 has kind of been her year, with Tweak picking her up. But even this year, she's won a good amount less than half of the major tournaments. You could say, well, for one character to win more than 30% is still pretty significant, but it's not an exaggerated amount for what we all know is the best character in the game. Not to mention that there are several factors for it. One is that the best player that doesn't use Bayo, Zero, retired this year, and you know he could take some of those wins. And also, MKLeo adds a win to her name where he uses her as a counterpick for only a couple games. That doesn't change the fact that she's prevalent, but it does show that her prevalence isn't purely due to how OP she is. Yeah, it would be great if we had more win percentage balance, with there being so many characters in the game, but that problem goes way beyond Bayonetta. Though Smash 4 is well balanced and we often see mid-tier characters in top 8s, when it comes to getting first place, that list is much shorter. So people can't be upset because the best character wins tournaments from time to time. I feel like whenever she wins, the reaction is like, oh, Bayonetta won, who's surprised? As if it happens all the time. But it really doesn't, even now her best year. Let's compare it to Melee Fox, for example. He's way more present, all over top 8s constantly, and has way higher percent of wins compared to Bayo. 5 of the best 6 Smash players right now use Fox. Yet as far as I know, the community has never had that negative a perception of him. They're just like, oh, he's the best character in the game, so of course he's winning. Another thing people say is that she's so OP she carries people to wins, or wins with her are meaningless, which would be something valid to get really upset about, but no. Like, just no. And if you think so, then you're just not being rational. Do people do better with her? Depends on the person and their playstyle, but in general, yes, since she is the best character in the game. But if you think she carries people to wins, you must admit she does a pretty shitty job at it, since only 2 players out of hundreds have won only using her. MKLeo, Tweak, and Abadango all won majors without her before. All amazing players in their own right. Salem was one of the biggest Brawl players, so you can't say he didn't have great Smash fundamentals coming in. The only player who came from relative obscurity to success with Bayonetta was Lima, so one guy out of tons. I'll put my money on it being a good bracket and actual hard work by someone who wanted to become better. And yeah, I'll talk about those grand finals later. Bayonetta is also not an easy character to pick up and instantly dominate with. She takes skill, more than several top tiers. You have to know the capabilities and limits of moving around with her specials. You have to know how to continue longer combos or how and when to end combos, the percent ranges of all these things, and reacting to SDI. It's not just side B and up B over and over again like it was in pre-patch. There's a reason it took about a year for Bayo to get back to being the best character after the nerf. And I know, she still has a ridiculous amount of tools available, so whenever she's winning, she looks and feels in gameplay like there's nothing you can do, and often people need to play very passive and patient against her. But there is counterplay. Part of it is just that, knowing the small windows she can be approached and punished, and a big one is SDIing her goddamn combos. Straight up, watch any ESAM video against her and see how many times he gets out of them early, or tell me how many times he gets killed off the top, or even gets close. So she's not really super dominating the meta, she's not brain dead, she's not so OP to give people free wins, she's just what she is, the best character in the game. And I don't think because she abuses her best character things, we should flip out like that. I really implore people to look at it with a different perspective because, like I've said, it's not good for the scene, and it's not good for you. Hear talking points from top-level competitors or analysts in any sport really, and they'll often tell you the same thing. The best way to get better is to look inward, to see what you can do to improve your chances of winning instead of complaining about what's out of your control. Were something to be rather unfair, the best course of action is always to see what you can do as a player to mitigate it and maximize your chance of success.
But you got to realize when you have those shitty breaks what that is. It's an opportunity for you to reassess, reboot, get better, figure out another way, find another way through. It's just little challenges. And the people that look at those challenges go, why do I always have these challenges? They're cancer.
For most things, it's likely you had an effect in the outcome. You made mistakes, and there's things you can improve so that doesn't happen again. There are always things that are out of your control, but instead of wasting energy getting frustrated about that, you're better off focusing your mind into what you can control. If you really care about winning and/or improving, that's the best attitude to have. And it's normal to vent sometimes, sure. I'm definitely not saying I'm above it, but in the end, the course of action to improve is to accept the hand you're dealt and work based on that. Complaining won't fix anything. That's what I feel is the difference in this negativity, that there is no in the end. There's no later acceptance. It's just complaining to attempt to justify their own or others' failures. Oh, it's not my fault I lost, it's Bayo's OP. Well, it's both, and mostly the first one. I know mistakes get more harshly punished against her, but they're still mistakes, and she's still beatable. The fact that she's OP is irrelevant to that. Not to mention, all the tools in the game are available for every player. There's no unfairness happening. Players can choose characters that do well or at least even with Bayo, which there are, or they can use Bayo too. Even if they don't want to change their character, it's within the realm of possibility they'll win unless they're using a low tier. So if you want, you change characters, but mostly you get better. That's all you can do. Now, I'm kind of mixing spectating with playing here. A lot of the negativity comes from people watching tournaments, but I think the principle is the same regardless, because a lot of people's complaints come from a second-hand lack of acceptance, let's say. They see Bayo as something too OP, something unbeatable, something not even worth working for because it's just unfair, instead of a challenge that can be overcome. They take their hate as some sort of sympathy for the other player when likely that person has that hard worker mentality, which is what got them so far in the first place. You might tell me, no, that's not me. I focus on what I can do to get better. I just think she kills the fun of playing the game and watching it. But that just makes it all simpler. If you don't like playing against her, if you don't like watching her so much that you dislike the gaming experience, then just stop watching instead of creating a toxic environment for those of us who don't really mind that much. That's really the most mature thing to do. Oh, I don't like Bayo, I'm gonna stop watching this game. Instead of, I don't like Bayo, so I'm gonna make sure everyone knows, argue it all the time, say the game is trash now as much as I can, and try to take it down with me in a sense. Nobody likes being in a community that has such a negative attitude about their own game. In tourneys where Bayo won, the discussions are never about the players or the matches, just how bad or not bad she is for the game, because that's where the negative people are driving the conversations. The players who play her are generally treated like shit. They're constantly criticized for picking up Bayonetta, which is just dumb. Some fans don't get people really live off this Smash shit. It's not just for fun, or even for the sake of competition. There are sponsors in the mix, companies paying you money expecting you to do good. Are you really gonna shit on people for giving themselves the best available tools for success? Even if we take money out of the equation, purely for the sake of competition, it is also a smart thing to do if your primary goal is to win and be the best. It's like shitting on camping. Yeah, it sucks to watch, but often it's a good strategy. You can say it's lame all you want, but that's a flaw of the game. If players don't do it, then they'll lose. It's as if the NBA put the three-point line, which is obviously a useful thing given it gives more points than any other shot, and people were like, ugh, I can't believe these dudes started shooting three-point shots now. So lame, stick to your roots and only shoot twos. It's not a perfect analogy, but it falls on the same principle. How are you gonna shit on someone for learning something they know gives them a better chance to win? The culmination of the player hate was EVO 2018. I won't explain the situation, just look it up. Were the players at fault? Yes. I honestly don't care about the respect of EVO, or that they were laughing while playing, they're friends, who cares? But it was just annoying. Like, supposedly half the audience left or something, so for the people who remained watching, you're gonna stall the game for 2 minutes? I was annoyed. Like, I found it funny for a good 12 seconds. Then I was like, okay, haha, ready to keep watching the game now, and nothing proceeded to happen for too long a time. I think it would have been a much better look for them if they would have taken the high road and said, you know what, everyone's hating on us, but we're here, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna play our heart out, and try to be entertaining for those still watching. That's really the main thing. It's EVO Grand Finals. It should be entertaining, a bit tense as well maybe, and that just took everyone completely out of it. Bad move on their part. However, do you think the community and the audience had nothing to do with eliciting that? Do you think they were not at all at fault? Because you'd be wrong. They were antagonizing them in the first place, booing every time they pulled off a combo. And that's on top of all the shit they get all the time through social media. So you have a community that's constantly arguing, constantly upset and negative, one that shits on its top players, boos them for winning. Realistically, who would see that and be like, oh, this is a game I want to be a part of? Fucking no one. They'd be like, their own players ain't even happy to be watching this. I guess I wouldn't be either. These people are totally stunting possible growth, not to mention disliking videos, which skews perception and has been said to make videos appear less in recommended tabs, hurting the people who work super hard running tournaments, hurting the players who are going up against the Bayonetta trying to beat her, and hurting the scene as a whole. Some people might say that they're trying to get the character banned, so it's not pointless. Them being as negative as possible is a means to an end, which is just even more fucked up. The character is not game-breaking, not super dominant, or over-centralizing. She's really not even worth considering for a ban. Obnoxious is not a ban-worthy trait. Trying to purposefully exaggerate your hate so a character you don't like gets banned is selfish and childish. The issue also goes beyond the competitive scene. Some people like Bayonetta's personality and like playing with her because of her original games. Also, her design is really creative. Not everything needs to be viewed through a competitive lens. She might have been the only character to have several negative reactions when announced for Ultimate, and is the only character whose Ultimate trailer has a significant amount of dislikes. They reach almost 40% of the number of likes. No other character passes 10%. Most don't pass 5. What do you think the Bayonetta creators think when looking at this? Do you think this is good for their brand? For their own games? I think some fans are straight up discouraging other companies from adding their characters without even knowing it. I would obviously say the benefits outweigh the risks, but still, I'm sure many who see that think that's definitely not the reaction they want their character to elicit from the huge Smash fanbase. I thought up of this video because I'm genuinely concerned for Smash Ultimate. Smash 4 had been on the decline already at the beginning of this year. Later, with the knowledge of Smash Ultimate, people started to care less and less, knowing it would soon be replaced. Say Ultimate wasn't announced though, I'm sure the game would have kept on declining because of this whole Bayonetta thing. Now, people might say that's because of Bayonetta in the first place, and she's definitely an annoying character, but I genuinely believe that if an overall different perspective was taken by many in the community, it would have stayed much stronger and robust, because nothing weakens it more than infighting and negativity. I do, though, agree with a lot of the specific gameplay points people make. She should be fixed. The amount of abilities and options she has is way more than what one character should have, and you can remove a bunch of them, especially the ones regarding her early kills, and still have her be a fun combo character that's true to her games, and even have her stay with her original things like bullet arts and bats within. She'd still be good, but she wouldn't be so annoyingly OP. I really hope this is the case, because though she's not as bad as people say, I'll agree she's definitely not good for the game. Even if people had come into the scene with the perspective I explained before, many would have taken the mature route and left, because they found Bayo killed the game's fun for them, which is fair. She was already set to be nerfed in the demo, which is good, and given her invitational showcase, she might be nerfed even further. She won't be the best anymore, I'm sure, but like in any competitive game, chances are another character is gonna take her place. They might not be as bad as Bayo, but they'll be annoying with too many tools, and I'm genuinely concerned there will be a similar attitude, because it happened all the time. People complain about Diddy a bunch, and Mario, and Cloud, and I dare to wonder, were Bayo not added to take their place as the best, would the hate have grown and festered for them as it did for her, and we'd have ended up in a similar situation? You could say no, but you don't know for sure. If it's happening with Bayo, who's not that dominant, who knows where the line is? I just really hope that going forward, people will try and see things from a different perspective. One of, this is how the game is and everyone needs to accept it and see how they can adapt and improve against it, instead of, this is bullshit, this character is unfair and virtually unbeatable, and I dislike this game now. Because if that latter part were really true, then you probably just stop playing. Alright guys, I'm out. Peace!